Hello, it's Medicosis Perfectionalis once again. Welcome back to my chemistry quick review playlist. In the last videos we talked about the atom, atomic theory, the periodic table of the element, as well as periodic trends. Today we'll talk about electron shells, not to be confused with corporate shells. Electron shells are also known as orbits. In the next video, we'll talk about subshells or suborbits. And then do we have something smaller? Yes, orbitals. So we go orbits and then suborbits and then orbitals. Suppose that this is my sodium atom. We have a nucleus in the middle surrounded by electrons. These are called electron shells or orbits. Here's the first, the second, and the third orbit or third shell. Please watch the videos in this chemistry quick review playlist in order. Chemistry is about what? Matter and energy. Matter could be pure or a mixture. The pure matter could be an element or a compound. Substance is physical matter, the simplest form of which is the element. And let's talk about the periodic table of the elements. There you have it. The rows are called periods or series. The columns are known as groups or families. Metals tend to be more to the left. Non-metals tend to be more to the right. Metalloids in between. The element is made of atoms. In the atom, there is the nucleus in the center, and we have electrons or electron clouds around it. We talked about all of these concepts before. Please pause and review. Let's arrange them by size. Atom is the biggest. Electron is the smallest. Bigger than the electron, we have the neutron. Bigger than the neutron is the proton. Bigger than the proton is the nucleus, of course, because it contains protons and neutrons. And the atom contains all of them, so the atom is the biggest. Next, let's arrange them by mass. Electrons are the lightest. The mass here is almost non-existent. And then protons, more mass. Neutrons, even more. By charge, protons, +1, electron, -1, neutron, 0. Also, don't forget that an anion is bigger than a neutral atom, which is larger than the cation. Why is that? Because cations are positively charged. How did you go from neutral to positive? I lost an electron. When you lose an electron, you will tend to have fewer electron shells, so you're getting smaller. And this is the most important chart in this video. Substance or matter is made of elements. That's the most basic form of matter. Elements are made of molecules. Molecules are made of atom. In the last video we talked about diatomic elements, whose molecules have 2 atoms, diatomic. Let me know all of the diatomic elements in the comments, please. Then we have the atom. In the center, we have the nucleus. Around the nucleus, we have electrons. Central versus peripheral. The nucleus is protons and neutrons. Protons are positive, neutrons are neutral. Then we have the electrons, organized in shells. And then each shell has subshells, and each subshell has orbitals. Orbits, suborbits, and orbitals. Shells, then subshells, then orbitals. Tell me about the shells. I can have 1 shell, 2 shells, 3 shells, 4, 5, 6, or 7 shells. And then each shell has subshells. What are the options that I have for the subshells or the suborbits? Could be S subshell, P subshell, D subshell, or F subshell. Next, each one of these subshells carries only 2 electrons maximum. So it could be 1 or 2. No more than 2.
But hey, Medicosis, I know that electrons are negatively charged. How come one orbit contains 2 negatively charged electrons? Won't they repel each other and move apart?
That's an excellent question. Look, there is something called spin. The fact is, one electron is spinning upwards, the other is downwards. Or you can call it up and down, clockwise and counterclockwise. That's how they are able to coexist in the same orbital. So how do we get the electrons to coexist in the same orbital? By giving them opposite spins. And you only have 2 possibilities, clockwise and counterclockwise. That's why you only have 2 electrons maximum per orbital. Not 3, not 4, not 5, because we only have 2 different types of spin. Ergo, maximum of 2 electrons per orbital. How can we get human beings to coexist on one planet? Maybe by giving them different spins? I'm just joking. It's a joke to help you remember this on your exam. Now on to today's topic, orbits or shells. We give them a number called n. So n is the shell number. It's also known as the principal quantum number. In the upcoming video, I'll tell you about 4 different quantum numbers. This is the first of them, the principal quantum number. Suppose that this nucleus has 3 orbits around it. We'll call the first orbit or the first shell n equals 1. The second one is the second, so n equals 2. How about the third shell? N equals 3. Surprise, surprise, the maximum number of shells is the same as the number of the period and the periodic table. Let's look at sodium, for example. Go to your periodic table, look at sodium. Sodium is element number 11. In which row or period did we find sodium? In the third period. Third period, which means sodium has 3 orbits or 3 shells. I'm talking about the neutral atom of sodium, of course. How can we arrange the electrons for the neutral sodium atom? Well, the neutral sodium atom has 11 electrons as it has 11 protons, because the atomic number is 11. Wonderful. Give me those 11 electrons. The first shell has 2 electrons. The second has 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the third one only has 1. 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Bingo.
But hey, Medicosis, why didn't you add more in the first shell?
Easy, because the maximum number of electrons allowed per shell is 2n to the second power. N for the first shell is 1. 1 to the second power is 1. Multiplied by 2 is 2. So the maximum number of electrons here is 2. Let's try for the second shell. N equals 2. 2 to the second power is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So the maximum number is 8 electrons. How about in the third? What's the maximum? 3 raised to the second power is 9. 9 multiplied by 2 is 18. The third shell can hold up to 18 electrons. But since sodium has 11 in total, and I already put 10 here, therefore only 1 is left. Let's continue the same period or the same row on the periodic table. After sodium, what do you have? Magnesium. It will have 2 electrons in the outer shell. After that, you have aluminum. It has 3. How about silicon? 4 electrons in the outermost shell. How about phosphorus? 5. Sulfur? 6. Chlorine? 7. And argon? 8. It is octet. Please note that the farther away from the nucleus you go, the energy increases as the shell number increases, which actually makes sense because this negative electron has to interact with the positive proton here. Otherwise, this electron will leave the chat and go somewhere else. The fact that this electron remains here tells us that there is sufficient electrostatic force, electrostatic attraction between the positive and the negative. And of course, if there is a shorter distance, we need less energy to keep the electron in check. But if the electron is far away from the nucleus, you'll need more energy. That's why energy increases as the shell number increases. So the higher the n, the higher the energy level, which means that if an electron transitions to a higher shell, let's say from the first shell to the second shell, energy is being absorbed in order to push the electron to a higher level. Conversely, if the electron is descending from a higher shell into a lower shell, it is releasing energy. And this difference in energy can be calculated. It's the energy in the final state minus the energy in the initial state. Examples. Suppose that the electron was here in the third shell and then decided to descend to the second shell, going from high to low. It is releasing energy. How can I calculate the delta E, the difference in energy? Energy final minus energy initial. In this case, it's the energy of the second shell, the final, minus the energy of the third shell, initial. And since the energy of the initial is larger than the energy final, therefore this delta E will be a negative number. How about this one? It's very similar. The electron is descending into a lower energy shell, which means the delta E here will be also a negative number. But the magnitude of the descent is wider than here. Let's just throw in hypothetical numbers. If this delta E is -2, then this delta E will be something like -4, -5, something greater in magnitude. 5 is greater than 2. But make no mistake about it, both numbers are negative. When the electron is closer to the nucleus in the most shell, it's called the ground state, the lowest energy, the most stable. But when it absorbs energy and gets excited, it goes to a higher shell. We call this the excited state, higher energy, unstable. If I'm going from the ground state to the excited state, from low energy to high energy, energy is being added, positive delta E. However, if I'm going from excited state to the ground state, energy is leaving in the form of photon. Energy is emitted, negative delta E. The first period has 1 shell, second 2 shells, third 3 shells, 4 shells, 5 shells, 6 shells, 7 shells. Okay, but how many electrons will I find in the outermost shell? For this, look at the number of the group. Here you'll find 1 electron in the outermost shell. How about here? 2 electrons. How about here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 electrons in the outermost shell. So neon has 8 electrons in the outermost shell, and the outermost shell in this case is the second, i.e. N equals 2. How about argon? It also has 8 electrons in the outermost shell, so it is octet. And this lovely valence shell is the third shell, N equals 3. Electrons are organized in shells. Each shell has subshells. Each subshell has orbitals. The maximum number of electrons per orbital is 2. Let's answer the question of the previous video. Write the symbol for potassium phosphide compound. Here's the rule of naming compounds. You start with the something that tends to be more to the left of the periodic table, and then you give me the name of the thing that should be more to the right in the periodic table. If you're more to the left, it means you are less electronegative. But if you're more to the right, it means you are more electronegative, as we have discussed in my video on the periodic trends. If you are towards the left, you are more likely to be a metal. But if you are more towards the right, you're more likely to be non-metal. Amazing. If you are less electronegative, it means that you're more likely to be positive, or you tend to form positive ions. But if you are more electronegatives, it means you tend to become a negative ion. One example here is sodium on the left side and chloride on the negative side. And then the positive and the negative will join together to give me one famous compound known as sodium chloride. You notice the "ide" at the end of the compound name? Similarly, we want potassium phosphide. You start with the potassium, please, because it's more positive. It's more to the left side of the periodic table. It is less electronegative. Then you give me the phosphide. It is basically phosphorus. But then let's balance this nonsense. Potassium has 1 electron in the outermost shell, so it tends to give me a positive 1. So you can write 1 here, but of course you do not need to write the 1. It's just training. How about phosphorus? It has 3 electrons in the outermost shell, so it is trivalent, and it will give potassium a 3 right here. So it's K3P. That's the answer. And here is today's question. Which of the following is isoelectronic with Br+? Let me know your answer in the comment section. You'll find the correct answer in the next video. If you have problems with pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics, absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination of medications, I have a course for you. It's my general pharmacology course. You can download this course today at medicosisperfectionalis.com. I have more than 1,500 free videos on this channel, plus 300 videos for members only. Click the join button, choose the highest tier to gain instant access to more than 300 videos right now. Please subscribe, smash like, hit the bell, support my channel here or here. Go to my website to download my courses, notes, and cases, or if you'd like me to personally tutor you. Be safe, stay happy, study hard. This is Medicosis Perfectionalis, where medicine makes perfect sense.